how different generations are responding to COVID-19. I think it's quite interesting because there are many differences. So I'll share the screen and show you what I prepared. Uh, so we'll start with baby boomer. Okay, the boomers. You know that boomers were born. That's a generation born between 1946 up to 1964. Okay, so of
So
course
I'm a
this
baby boomer.
the baby boomers, right?
Yeah.
But the dates are approximate, so
Yeah.
there are some overlap. You cannot be so
Yeah.
strict and divide. There are also they talk about also micro generations in between.
Mm.
We don't. Okay, but boomers, you see, uh, they they survived wars, social change, political upheaval, and more. Some reports suggest that many boomers are doing little to change their habits in light of the pandemic.
Mm.
It's true. So they feel that have been gone through enough and
Mhm.
they are capable of taking care of themselves. With regard to the family, they may be worried about the health of and well-being of their kids and their grandkids. They're not so worried about themselves.
Mhm.
And about work, okay, they are less worried about their work situation, often because they have retired or they are getting closer to retirement. So they have this perspective. Um, let's move now to Generation X.
Mhm.
Okay, Generation X. Okay, the Generation X adults are maybe the most prepared to cope with the isolation of social distancing and quarantine because they learned to occupy themselves in the hours after school when they were young,
Mhm.
before the parents go home from work. So they know how to entertain themselves. Um, Sometimes this generation is known to be a sandwich generation.
Mhm.
I mean, people in this age group are caring for both their own kids and their aging parents. About work, many are working from home or face an uncertain job future that might worry them a little. With regard to family, they have all the parents to take care of, and they're worried about their own kids who are now out of schools due to closures. Sometimes they have anxiety or stress. Let's move on and let's have a look at the millennials. Okay, millennials were born between 1980 and 1994. So like, okay, Generation X, the word about all the relatives, finances and careers. This is the second time they face a financial crisis because they saw also 2008 crisis. And they feel like a strange role reversal because many millennials have found themselves lecturing their parents for not taking social distancing seriously enough.
Mhm.
Another very interesting thing is that 48% of millennials were scaling back their spending in light of the pandemic,
Mhm.
something that boomers did not do. They didn't change their spending habits. Uh, Probably boomers don't buy so much on the internet, but uh, there's quite a difference. Okay, let's move on and let's have a look at Generation Z. Generation Z were born between 1995 and 2012. They are the least likely to experience health complications as a result of the virus. They're worried for the loved ones. Generation Z adults have the poorest mental health of any generation. That's interesting. The added stress of COVID-19 may be putting even more pressure on the well-being of this generation. Many are worried about school, tuition. Where are they going now that they're being kicked out of their campus or campus housing or schools? You know, there are many campuses that gives accommodation. They give accommodation and so on. So now there's another problem of having to solve. Basically, this one, Generation Z. Okay, that they are really the generation who is less concerned about, the consequences of the virus, the COVID-19. So there are some very interesting differences between this generation, and it was nice to show you this
Yeah.
because
Thank you.
they have different reactions, and sometimes we were surprised that maybe, for example, boomers, were not so worried.
Yeah.
Also because they are the most vulnerable generation to COVID-19, but however, they were not so scared, and that's because they went through so much before. So
Yeah, they are more worried about their children, I think.
Yeah.
that's true. That's right. That's right.